Hey. Oh my, dear Lord. We've done how many of these? 228? Are you kidding me? All right, well, let's do another 228 of them. Let's start now. Hey now, kids, boys, girls, children of all ages, welcome into the often imitated, never duplicated, original, live, unfiltered, unedited, uncensored, commercial-free Sharks podcast here, wrapping up your week of Sharks hockey, all part of Teal Town USA. Do that like and subscribe thing. Leave your takes in the comment section if you're not with us in the live chat. And oh my gosh, what had happened was the Sharks went 3-1. There are people in Vegas who have lost money, people. Nobody saw that coming. Currently 9-13-5 for good for 29th in the league. Hey. A 3-point night and a game winner for Celebrini starts off the week. Then you got Will Smith snagging his first multi-point game in the NHL. 13 Sharks make the score sheet hosting Seattle, and then Wallman and Granlund grabbing 2 helpers each in Seattle. The Sharks with a winning record after 4 games. I was like, for real? So we're going to be all over the map tonight, so let's get into this. I mean, dude, are you kind of bummed that, like, San Jose just wipes the floor with L.A., and Askarov and net, and then they're like, the next day, they're like, yeah, you can go back down. VTech's healthy.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is, right, is you can only carry so many people on your roster. Now, they probably could have sent someone else down, but then that would probably piss people off to keep them up, and then you carry 3 guys, I guess. But, like, 'cause they're not sending Vanacek down.
Of course not.
Right, so...
It's just, you just feel bad for Askarov because that dude has the biggest BDE in the locker room.
Yeah, it sucks, but at the same time, like, you want him playing, and being in a 3-goalie rotation on the Sharks isn't ideal.
No. Dude, I was bummed he didn't play earlier today. Fuck, come on, let's go, pal.
Let's go, I know. Yeah.
But a 7-2 victory for the Sharks over LA. The really funny thing, of course, being that, Granlund is scratched. They called it an upper body injury, which probably means that, like, he stubbed his toe.
Probably.
And then, dude, I'm getting really tired of Warsawski's bullshit. Like, so at the morning skate, he wouldn't name a starter, and then that was followed by reports of Askarov. Oh, his locker is cleaned out, and then other report, somebody else said, they witnessed Askarov storming off the ice after morning skate. And then he ends up starting the fucking game. Like, what are we doing here? Stop it.
Maybe they gave him the start because I know I'm just gonna feel the nonsense. They gave him the start because he stormed off.
Yeah, he was a petulant child. Okay, fine. You can play.
You can play. I won't send you back to Barracuda this time.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm just gonna feel the nonsense.
The good thing about this game, though, I mean, it's one of the rare times that the Sharks score first, able to hold a lead. But I will tell you, man, dude, that feed to Sturm from Ferraro, and everybody was like, Mario Karlsson?
Yeah.
Dude, everybody was losing their mind over that feed. And I'm like, hey, the sun shines on a dog's ass from time to time. Fucking applaud it, baby.
It was a good feed. I mean, but
it was great. If you could do that every game, sure.
Yeah, and not be a black hole for whoever his partner is.
I'm saying it. So, I mean, just so many guys hitting the score sheet in this one. You have to love it. It was just like, oh my God, Zetterlund, you got Celebrini, Liljegren, again, the aforementioned Ferraro, Wenberg, Wallman, Cunnin, just so many. But second multi-goal game for Macklin, 3-point night, first in his career for the 18-year-old. Gotta love that. Dude, Big Save Dave became Big Sieve Dave.
He's occasional Save Dave, and he's been that way for a long time.
And dude, Fiala had almost as much time in the box as he did on the ice. That was cool.
Yeah.
But you had to appreciate the fact that the Sharks answered the bell with their top score, Granlund being out. Woo! And 7-2 win. And I was like, in my mind, watching the game, I'm like, it's Monday. It's against the Kings. And the Sharks are just going ham. Like, why does this seem familiar? And I'm like, that's because the last time the Sharks played LA at SAP on a Monday was the Martin Luther King game when Timo had 5 goals. And I was like,
Yep.
That's why it feels so familiar. Unfortunately, both games had about the same attendance, man. They're barely cracking 10. We're going to get into that in a little bit, but man, come on, fans. Where you at? All right, so we go on to the Ottawa game. Blackwood goes in net, and I will say, Ian, right now, we're 27 games into this monstrosity.
Yeah.
The hands down so far most entertaining loss of the season.
Yeah. I disagree. I think that this game, I could see that. This game pissed me off. And like the Sharks, it's very rare that the Sharks.
Were you not entertained?
Yeah, but then I looked at the 11 shots on goal that they faced, and Blackwood having a 0.6 something fucking save percentage, and it annoyed me because again, like it's hard to be like mad at Mackenzie Blackwood, who has given this team way better goaltending than it's deserved through his entire time here. But like it was entertaining, but they lost, and like I said, this team rarely makes me angry at this point. But yeah, this one left a sour taste in my mouth. I mean, it was fun, like the Sharks, had all the pressure, but they should have won this game. They should have been undefeated this week.
Yeah, and you know what? In this game, Thompson was a scratch. I think if you scratch Ruda and put Thompson in, they probably did win that game.
No, I don't think Mackenzie Blackwood was terrible in this game, though.
Dude, when you allow 4 on 11,
yeah,
yeah,
not good, not good.
But it's for me, and I'm like, it really sucks to call up Thompson and not use him when you have CC Thrun and Ruda in the lineup. But I mean, the Sharks, they got a early power play, got nothing. Then Gaudette scores from Stützle after Wallman pulls the patented starfish defensive posture, and I'm like, did we not get rid of that when Burns left? I don't like. I thought that was okay. Eklund takes a stick to the face, no call.
Yeah,
but it was a hell of a night for almost Sharks and former, between Norris and Stützle and everything. I was like, that would have been nice. But Ferraro,
yeah, but how many playoff points do those guys have?
Well, that's okay. You make a good point.
I mean, they've been there for a while.
That is true. But I mean, Ferraro getting the Sharks on the board, which I was just like, whoa, wait, what?
Yeah.
And then Celebrini continuing to score, winning the face-off, gets the Wallman shot. Eklund collects the rebound, dishes to Mac, boom. I mean, again, like they lost 4-3, but god damn, it was an entertaining game. But yeah, Ottawa holding, I guess, if Warsofsky wants to be like glass half full, like we held him to 10 shots through the first period or the first 2 periods. And I'm going, yeah. And so you held them to 1 shot on goal through 20 minutes of the third.
And what happened with that 1 shot on goal?
Exactly. So you're like
that's why that game made me angry.
Yeah, I think so. And so now we move on beyond Thanksgiving, or what Ian calls Thursday,
yeah.
And Seattle in the house on one of those fun, rare matinees, 12:30 start. typically, see, now I'm old school. I'm from back in the day where it was like Chicago would come in almost regularly
Mhm.
because Chicago would host some sort of circus or some shit every mid-November or late November. And so it was almost like clockwork. It was like the sun rises in the east, Chicago plays in San Jose the day before Thanksgiving. So that I was like, all right, kind of messed up my head a little bit. But now it seems to be the regular thing is Black Friday is going to have
Mhm.
that matinee game, and I'm kind of digging it because if memory serves, the Sharks actually have a pretty decent record on
Which is
Black
surprising
Friday.
because they're usually dog shit in matinees.
Dude, abso-fucking-lutely. They're horrible. But the fun part about this is Ethan Cardwell gets a call up and gets his first NHL goal. How do you not love that, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But and then Granlund coming back centering the third line, and you're like, wait, what? Because Celebrini so far has found a lot of chemistry with Zetz and Eki, and you're like, yeah, let him go. It was just like Joe Thornton during Game 7. Oh, does somebody say Game 7? But it's just like that, where it's like, no, fuck it, let him cook. Celebrini and Zetz and Eki are doing good. Keep them out there, let them cook. But oh my god! And then Kleem buries a rebound from a Zetz shot, and it's like, dude, this week, Kleem Shady is like, God, I was so bummed
Yeah.
that he didn't make the starting roster from the beginning, because I remember talking with Jerk many times, and I'm like, you know what, I'm a real fan of Kleem's game. You keep him on that fourth line where he should be, bottom
Yeah. Bottom
six.
six. Yeah.
Yeah, you keep him down there. He's a lot of fun. He's not going to score every fucking game, but that's not his job. I like
Right.
what he brings to the table. So it was a real bummer to see that, like, the first 20 games, he got like one start, and then he had to wait for an injury, and all of a sudden, boom, he has made the most of that injury, and he's getting in there. So now it's like, okay, you know what? Giovanni Grunstrom, sit your ass down. Costin in the house. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, I mean, he was my zero last week on this show because I didn't think he did a ton, but like again, but this week, like I thought he really kind of found his game, and he's kind of looked more like the Klim Kostin we saw last year, which is pretty much all you want, right? So it's nice that he finally seems to have his feet out like under him, and it'll be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how he's gonna have to have a hard time staying in the lineup though, because I think like a guy like Grunstrom, I think has been quietly pretty good.
He has, but I don't know. I like me Kleem just a little bit more. I like the fact that Ramenda said, you don't sleep on Kostin. And I'm like, hey, maybe tell that to Warsofsky.
Yeah, well,
and he ends up with a Gordie Howe hat trick, goal, assist, fight. Hell yeah. Love that. So you get the 8-5 victory against Seattle at SAP. Then we're going to go up north to the Pacific Northwest, and Blackwood slides in for Vanacek. Boom, it's a 4-2 win. Almost a little closer than that until the Situation Room called in. That was interesting. But, dude, the thing that really pissed me off about Saturday morning, Warsofsky's going, there's going to be a game time decision, but I'm not going to tell you who it is. And then he ended up going with the exact same line.
yeah, I don't understand it.
Dude, I'm about to choke Warsofsky with that fucking teal curtain, dude. Like, just stop it. We're not guarding nuclear secrets here. Stop.
We're not in the playoffs. Like, it's not a playoff game. Like, what are we doing?
Exactly. It's not playoffs. Stop it. Like, if Torts does this and we're like 3 games into the first round of the playoffs, and I'm like, yeah, that's Torts. That's the way you play the game. But the fact that we're like barely a third of the way in and Warsofsky is playing this game, I'm like, dude, you're just pissing me off. Ferraro opens scoring in this one last night. And dude, I swear to God, when he scored, I'm like, and there's Ian scratching him off the 0 list.
Yeah, no.
Dude, 3rd point in 4 games.
Yeah, no, I mean, look at Every dog has his day. Maybe has a week.
Exactly. Or a week in this case.
I
And
just don't think like the thing with Ferraro is like, and I'm not trying to like take away from his week. I just don't think his he's offensively good enough to make up for how much of a black hole he is.
that's true. That's true. Oh, hold on. We got a nice question in the chat from Austin. Say, honest question. What exactly does Goodrow do for this team? Well, he's good in the room. Isn't that like the most important thing?
Yeah, like he's a guy. Barclay Goodrow is a guy who
He's a
works
guy.
his ass off. But he is a guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
he is 100% a guy. But he works his ass off, right? Like I mean, he's a guy like he's not gonna. He's obviously not like he seems to score big goals, but like he's not gonna score you a lot of goals. But he does seem to manage to just be in the right place at the right time when you really need him to be. Um, the problem is the Sharks have a lot of like that kind of role player, in my opinion, which makes it very, he's got a little more like. But I mean, like you look at this team, right? Like you got Goodrow and you've got Luke Cunnin and you've got, you know what I mean? Like you've got this mishmash of players that are kind of the same. So I don't know why like Barclay Goodrow keeps winding up in the top 6, but as a bottom 6 guy, he's fine.
Yeah, he's fine.
I mean, he makes way too much money for a bottom 6 guy.
but he's
fine.
good. He's good in the room,
and he's good. Yeah, he's good in the room. Like he's a good guy because again, he's a guy who I still think like he busts his ass, and I think it's hard to take a shift off if Barclay Goodrow's on your wing because that guy's busting. Might not be busting anything good, but he's busting. So if you're taking a shift off while you're on the, you're gonna know.
Well, it's you know what? It's Ass Hockey Jerk. We used to use this clip somewhat regularly. Daryl Sutter in post game or something, but he says it for him. He goes, it's not about guys who score a lot of goals. It's about guys who score timely goals.
Yeah,
and I was like, fucking A. Which again would got us onto the debate about oh god, what was the guy's name? Mahalik. It was like I know that there was a couple people on social media. I think he used to write for either way. I remember getting into a debate because this guy was like a huge Mahalik, just fanboy. And I go, all I said was, I go, look, be the Mahalik fanboy, do you? But like, don't give this guy too much, cred. Look at the goals that it's like, oh, he had fucking, 25 goals this year. And I'm like, okay, that's great. How many of those goals were scored when it mattered versus how many of those were, like him potting in an empty netter when the Sharks were already up 6-3 in a game or that type of stuff. Like, like there are certain goals, and that was when Jerk and I started like adding value to it's like, okay,
yeah.
Is it is it an opening goal? Is it a tying goal? Is it a go-ahead goal? It was, and all of a sudden Mahalik's value went. So anyway, the last game against Seattle last night, I mean, just so much fun. Again, Ferraro scoring, you get Cunnin throwing, Cece of all people getting on the fucking board. Are you serious?
Nice goal, yeah.
Dude, first of the season, first as a Shark. Then you got Granlund going to Will Smith. I mean, dude, there was some good top shelf bar down goals this week.
Yeah, Sharks fans ate good this week, man.
Oh, dude. So I mean, it was a turkey weekend. Right? Everybody ate good. And then I love the Situation Room calling in for a goalie interference and no goal. And I got to tell you, I'm one of those guys when it comes to the reviews like that. In my mind, I try to sit there and look at it and I go, okay, everybody's wearing a like an orange jersey or like, like nobody just try to look at this from a unbiased viewpoint. I gotta say, I thought that glance along Blackwood's mask, I was just like, I didn't hate it that they called it goalie interference. Like, I could have seen if they called it either way, but I was really trying to go, fuck, if the situation was reversed, would I really be tilted? Like, what did you think on that?
Yeah, I mean, just because of the time of the game, it's an automatic review.
What was it, like the last like minute and a half?
Yeah,
Minute
there's like a
10?
certain point where like where anything that's scored in like the last little bit is automatic review by the situation room. So I mean, I think it was goaltender interference. I think it was definitely the right call.
Really?
But
You
yeah,
think so?
yeah,
God,
it was the right call.
I thought it was so glancing. I was just kind of like, eh.
It's in the blue.
Yeah, well, and I was gonna say that's the thing. It's like, dude was, had ass in the crease, skates parked,
Yeah,
but like, I was just, I was trying to, I always try to give the other team the benefit of the doubt. Like, if it, let's flip the jerseys. Do I feel
sure.
the same way?
Yeah, yeah. No,
And
I think I think I'd be I think I would have been okay with it if it was the other way around.
all right, so I mean, we'll get to heroes and zeros, but for me, like, I feel like there's a lot of names that was like good week, bad week, and so for me,
Hmm.
good week, it's like Celebrini. What do
Sure.
what
Yeah.
do you have, like fucking 6 points this week?
Yeah. He's quickly he's very quickly catching up to Michkov
Oh,
with
dude,
half the
rookie of the
games.
month,
Yeah.
rookie of the month, and you just like, holy crap, this kid, despite missing how many games did he miss? Like 10 games?
12, I think.
Oh, Jesus. So, I mean, despite missing that, you've got Wyszynski tweeting about him. You got
Hmm.
LeBrun and Friedman. Holy fuck, dude. If he can stay healthy from here on out, it's like, oh my God, dude, just put the fucking Calder in your backpack. Like,
I think if he can keep up this pace, I mean
oh, it's
he's gonna run
sick.
away with it.
Yeah, dude,
I
it's
think. I
sick.
mean, the only player, like, I think Michkov obviously is going to be in that conversation, although I think he's kind of been a little bit of power play merchant. Dustin Wolf obviously is another guy, but like at the same time, it's like Celebrini's fucking 18 years old, and I know it's not like that's probably not going to come into a factor, but like that
It
to
should.
me is impressive, right? Like the guy makes the jump to pro hockey at 18 and he's doing what he's doing. Like it's absolutely silly.
Dude, it's like you think about back in the day, you're like, Jeff Friesen was a fucking piker. Oh, I'm just blown away by what this kid is doing. But the fact that like he missed those games, you
Yeah.
have to sit there and go, you have to, reconfigure the numbers a little bit. It's like, oh, okay, well, Michkov had, you know, fucking 80 points in 82 games. Okay, that's great. But Celebrini had 80 points in,
Well,
you
that's
know,
how Bedard won the Calder last year. He missed a bunch of games too, but because of the amount of points he put up in those games, I mean,
exactly. So it's all about points per game. So I'm dying to see the way, because I'm still a little tilted about Couture not getting the Calder, and then who was the cat that did? And
Jeff Skinner,
yeah, and how's he doing? All right. Anyway,
it's fine.
but a good way. Will Smith, and now Will Smith again being pair early on, kind of on the lower part of the totem pole. All of
Mhm.
a sudden, he's getting some good looks. His first 8-10 games were kind of a little sketch, and then all of a sudden, Seattle, and first time that Will Smith gets to be in back-to-back games, because that was part of the plan,
Right.
evidently, this secret plan that we don't know about. But Will Smith, holy fuck, dude, he has unlocked, some sort of code. Like he figured out
It's confidence.
confidence, but it's just like I'm sitting there going, oh, he figured out the code on the controller. Good for him.
Yeah, I think it's confidence. He's my hero of the week for sure,
Yes.
because like It's confidence, right? And it's also like the coach kind of letting him and Celebrini kind of just go out and seeing what happens. And so far, it's been really, really good. Um, but yeah, I
He
mean,
lets
like
the coach lets them go to Dave and Buster's on off days.
yeah, like it's nice, right? Like, and I think for him, it's been good too because like he's playing with better players, which is obviously helpful. But I don't think that
Huge.
was the problem all along. Like, I understand, like I think there was like
Those situational issues.
there was yeah. I mean, I feel like there's been kind of like some revisionist history on like the
There
start of
always
his
is.
season. Oh, there I right. I mean, that's just fandom, right? And I think like yeah, maybe he wasn't on like getting some ideal um line mates during earlier in the season, but I also don't think he was very good either. At the same, like I think both things can be true, right? Whereas now it seems like he's just gone off, and I'm kind of I think it'll be interesting to see if he can keep up like this pace now too. Where because if Celebrini and him keep putting points up together, the only problem there is maybe they start siphoning Calder votes from each other.
Yeah. Uh, Aaron goes, will Wallman have 60 points this year?
It's a lot of points.
I
I would
I
take
would
the
take the under on
that.
Yep, me too.
Um, just I can't remember how many points he had last year, but I don't think it was anywhere near 60.
Well, it's to me, it's just that whole thing. It's like anybody can have a good week. Not a lot of guys have a good season.
Yeah, well, I like Wallman. I think there's points. And I think you need to enjoy things when things are good. If you haven't learned that from seasons past, I think this is a good reminder. It's like enjoy things while things are good.
Yeah.
60 seems really
Well,
fucking high for
and
Wallman.
and again, I sit there and I go, like I'm happy with what Wallman is doing, but I also remember Ryan Merkley having a good week.
Sure.
I remember Mirko Mueller having a good week. It's like, no. It needs to be a good month. And then we'll talk about that shit. So to
Yeah,
continue.
I don't know, like as much as I'm enjoying this right now, but you kind of look at like who they played too, right?
That too. I mean, LA, top 3.
Yeah. I
But
think the Pacific Division's ass, though. I think
yeah,
being top 3 in the Pacific Division is kind
they're
of a
all, they're all
mirage.
yeah, I was gonna say, to quote Jerk, they're all frauds.
Kinda, yeah, yeah. I mean,
And
not
then
that I
Ottawa
still
is
think like
7th, and that's the team they lost to.
right.
They literally lost to the worst. That they lost one game this week, and it was to the team that had the worst record among the 3 that they faced.
Yeah, and I think like Seattle's obviously like they have not been good this year. And they seem to just have no answers. Right now. Like I again, like I we ate good this week and we should enjoy it, but
Yes.
but I would be very, very hesitant to be like, oh man, this is the way the rest of the season's gonna go.
Oh, I like the comment from Crafty Koala. Goes,
Okay.
why y'all just chilling in the dark? Like we both seem to be in an area that's because post game is after dark.
That's
This
true.
is literally in the dark.
Yeah, I have my light pointing in a funny direction. I don't want to script my camera by moving it
It's all
around.
good. It's all good. But yeah, good week for Celebrini, good week for Will Smith. Of course, anybody that has Lund in the back half of their name is always a good week. Clean Costin, of course. Jake Wollman, Liljegren, Ferraro. Good week for all of that group. Bad week, I'm going to sit there and say Barkley. He got injured.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to like, it's really hard to pick a 0 when things are.
Well, I'm not doing
hero
zeros yet. I'm
Okay.
just doing
I'm sorry.
good week,
My
bad
bad.
week.
All right.
But yeah, it's just like, it's been a while since like the amount of people that had, or the amount of Sharks that had a good week was larger than the Sharks that had a bad week. So it's like I said, Celebrini, Smith, Eklund,
Yeah.
Granlund, Costin, Zetterlund,
Eklund. Oh my
Wallman,
God,
Liljegren, Ferraro. Bad week this time. I would say Goodrow because he got injured. Grunstrom, 2 games played, no points. He's a -2. And of all people, Toffoli, 1 assist in 4 games.
Yeah.
So
That's the nice thing with this team though, like right now, right? Is like it's they're getting it from everywhere.
exactly. I love the fact that we had like 13 guys get on the board in that first game against Seattle. And
Yeah,
then what was really funny is a friend of the show, Drew Weber, posted
Mhm.
on Twitter. He goes, if the Sharks played 500 hockey in their first 9 games, they would have 28 points on the season. That would tie them for second in the division, 8th in the entire league. And I went and looked at those 9 losses, and I'm like, 5 of them were only a goal difference when you toss
Mhm.
the empty netters. And it's like, fuck. Like, it's, I got to be honest with you, dude. Like, between now and like Martin Luther King Day, I'm like, they're going to do one or the other. Like, they're going to, they're going to keep blowing games by a goal, and they're going to stay in that like spot where they're going to draft in like the first 5, 6, 7, or they're going to give us the fucking, the short and curlies on the arm and be, God damn, these fuckers are going to challenge. Like they're going to make it that if Mike Greer makes a trade and moves Granlund or, some other significant piece, we're all going to be like, what are you doing? We could be the
Oh, yeah, I don't know about that.
2019 St. Louis Blues.
No, I okay,
Dude, I'm
again, see, this is
so
where you have to.
fucking sick of people referring to that Blues team. They were the worst at the end of January. I don't fucking care. That was an anomaly. Stop it.
Well, not only that, like, but look at I don't know, man. Like you also look at who was on that team too. That was a team that was like not. That was a team that horribly underperformed to start the season, whereas the
Mm-hmm.
Sharks are just performing like.
Exactly how we thought
Again,
they would.
this is why I want to caution, right? Because again, it's like I enjoyed this week. We ate good, but like they played Seattle, they played LA, and they played fucking Ottawa. Like
Yeah,
they're
these
not
are not
playing
teams that
Colorado, they're
are.
not playing New York, they're not playing New Jersey, they're not playing Vancouver. You know what I mean? Like they're not like let's come back down to earth here.
All right. So what else happened this week? The jumbo retirement ceremony, dude. I just want to point this out. The
Mhm.
jumbo auction raised a ridiculous amount of cash. The jersey that Celebrini wore while taking warm-ups during the game against Buffalo last week, the jumbo retirement thing, went
Mhm.
for $7,000. Like, I'm not telling you how to spend your money, but good God, do you know how rare it is that when you buy a jersey for those auction prices that you actually get your money back or get more?
Yeah.
I mean, oof. And then can we just talk about this for a second? Like, I'm not trying to be a dick. Okay? I know that I just am. I don't have to try, but dude, can we talk about these banners for a second? Roll up the photos, people. Let's get these photos up. It's just that. Why are we? Steven! What the fuck's going on here? There we go. All right. Can we talk about these banners for a second that are hanging at both SAP and the practice facility? Why are they not the same color teal? Like, I look at that. Why is the kerning between the letters not the same? Like, what are we doing here, people? And then,
Yeah, why isn't the teal the same?
yeah, dude, that's what I'm like. How is the teal not the same fucking color? And then you look at them when they're hanging at SAP, and I'm like, why does the Thornton one appear to be like 6 inches thinner than Marlowe's? Like, what the fuck are we doing here?
I don't know.
But yeah, the kerning, but it's not even that so much, because if you look at the photo, like it's like, oh, the Marlowe one is really nice. It's pretty flat and everything. And you're like, you look at the Thornton one, you're like, why are all these fucking wrinkles in this? Like, did they forget to fucking stretch out the banner? Like,
I got nothing.
seriously, But like, okay, but that's
Fanatics banner.
but the whole thing, it's like stretch out the banner a little bit, make it the same size. But how did you fuck up the kerning, the space between the letters? Why is that so different? But the biggest question, why are there two different fucking shades of teal? What the flying fuck are we doing here, people?
Marlowe wore the original jersey, didn't he?
I'm sorry?
Did Marlowe wear the original jersey?
Yeah. No, because he came in 97. Why. Yeah, he came in the year he came in, if I remember correctly, they had the original jersey, but they did have, the alternate jersey that ended up being
becoming the new prime.
The second one.
Maybe it's that simple. Maybe because like the Marlowe teal looks closer.
No. See, that's my whole thing. Is I look at those fucking banners and I'm like, you know what? The Thornton banner looks more like the OG teal that he never wore.
Yeah.
Versus so anyway, my whole thing is like, how are they not matching? I don't get that. And there are some people that I'm quite sure we're going to be like, hey, AJ, don't mention that. Like, don't be a dick. Don't call out stuff like that. And you know what? I'm going to give you the Steve Jobs response. If people don't call out shitty work, it won't stop being shitty. So there you go. Fucking do your job better. Let's see. What else happened this week? It was so much fun. I mean, okay, so Sturm was out. He got activated. You got Thompson set down, brings him back up. Hate to see that. Then you got Vlasic.
Well, they had to send him down because otherwise Askarov couldn't play.
Of course. Vlasic reportedly close to returning. We'll see how that works. Goodrow to the IR. Cardwell gets called up, gets his first ever. I'm still sitting here going, why does everybody hate Colin Graff and not want to see him in the NHL?
Because again, it's you're bringing up a guy to play a role that Ethan Cardwell plays really well. Colin Graff is a good player and he's done really good things on the Barracuda. But I feel like if someone got hurt who was more offensively, like if someone got hurt like where you're trying to fill a top 6 spot. That's when you're going to bring Colin Graff back up. But I think for what they need right now, Ethan Cardwell fits the bill. And Ethan Cardwell's great, so it's fine.
Hey, dude, scored a fucking goal. And the best part was when he was asked afterwards, you scored a goal. And blah, blah. He's like, yeah, I think I blacked out. That was so cool. I'm like, okay, Ethan, you've made a fan. I love that.
Ethan Cardwell's great. Like, again, I think he's gonna have a long career. I don't think he's gonna put up the points that he does in the AHL. I don't think that'll be his game in the NHL. But I think he'll be fine. I think he's a guy who's gonna, when he finally secures a spot, he's gonna play a bajillion games in the NHL.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Like he plays such a good bottom 6 game. For an NHL player. I think he's going to put up points. I just don't think that he's never going to be your leading scorer in the NHL. Though.
But see, no, I get what you're saying because it's rare. Well, I shouldn't say rare, but it's the case of some guys recognize their role.
Mm-hmm.
Who was that? Oh my God, who was that goofy fucking guy that the Sharks had? That would just like take all comers in a fight. He had that he was a huge LGBTQ guy. He got into a fight and he was he had that face where he's like screaming and blood is like dripping down the side of his face.
Scott Parker?
No. Oh my God, the sheriff?
Not
no,
the sheriff.
That was like 30 years ago. No, this is a guy that was like during COVID.
Oh man.
Oh, what was his fucking? I guarantee you, Puck Guy's gonna know it. He was. Oh my God.
Curtis
Gabriel. There you go, Curtis Gabriel. So yeah, that to me, Curtis Gabriel, that was a guy knew his fucking role and played it to perfection. But yeah, you talk about Cardwell. It's like, dude's only 22. Like,
and
holy shit.
Again, like he's a guy who I think he plays I hate to say he plays the right way,
I
but he
know,
does. He
dude.
really does. Like, fuck, so cliche. But no,
So
he
much.
does, right? Like I think he works hard. I think he's responsible in his end of the ice. I think he is physical enough, but not overly physical where he's a liability. Like I think he's gonna have once he sticks, whether it's here or somewhere else, I think he's gonna have a really long NHL career.
Yeah.
It won't be the flashy, it's not gonna be a Hall of Fame career, but he's gonna have a really long one.
Well, the other fun thing this week is a lot of fans on social media coming into the week. So, look,
Mhm.
since the last time we were on, a lot of fans going, okay, what is this so-called plan for Will Smith? Like Warsawski's got him on the third line. Why
Mhm.
not send him down and let him dominate with the CUDA getting top line minutes? Why doesn't Graf get a look? And
Yeah.
after what has happened this week, I'm kind of like, can you say that for the people in the back row? I don't hear you so much now.
But again, I think like it's kind of what I said about Will Smith earlier, though, right? Like I think two things can be true.
Yes,
Like, yeah, maybe he wasn't getting the optimal line mates and everything else, but he also wasn't good.
he
Like there was a
wasn't.
stretch where he was struggling, and where I think, well, I mean, we talked about it on this show about,
Dude, we
you know,
talked about it 25 minutes ago where I was just like, you know
well, we
what?
talked about
He
it also
didn't
like
start
earlier in
great.
the year on this show too. But we had a whole conversation about Will Smith to the AHL and if that's, if that should be in the cards or if it shouldn't be in the cards. I mean, I don't know, man. I think two things can be true. I think, yeah,
Yes.
like obviously, again, Sharks fans love to just fucking relitigate everything.
Oh, it's fun. It's fun.
But again, like, I think when a lot of those conversations were had, they weren't far off, I think. But again, things change and opinions should change with new evidence.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. That's the biggest thing. Opinions should change with new evidence. There you go. That is the perfect thing. The other thing that happened this week, which was driving me out of my fucking mind. Oh, look, a lot of speculation, which you guys all know if you're frequent visitors to the pod, you know that I fucking hate speculation, all that shit. Like, what if, no, fuck you. I don't want to talk about what if. I want to talk about what had happened was.
Mhm.
And this week, what had happened was David Jiricek got traded. Did he go to the Sharks? No. So shut the fuck up.
I mean, it made okay, here's the thing with that though. Like, I mean, the Sharks being interested makes a lot of sense. Now, when you
Sure.
look at that return,
That's
it suddenly doesn't make a whole
monumentous.
lot of sense.
Yeah, I was going to say that, like,
It
that.
stops making sense for the Sharks at that point.
Oof. That is a lot of pay. Who the fuck is Damon Hunt?
A guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think much of him. I think he's a guy.
Yeah, so I'm
I
just
think
kind
Columbus
of,
did really well here.
I think Columbus did fantastic here with a limited asset. And let's be honest, the Blue Jackets, the last time that they were competitive and it was when?
Never.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I mean, they did bounce the Lightning that one year. That was pretty awesome.
yeah, but what's the we've gone into this before. There was one Columbus player that was like a superstar. Who was it?
Rick Nash.
There you go. And wasn't he like in the first 5 years of that franchise and then that was it?
Yeah, Columbus has had a kind of a shit go of things.
Not my problem.
No, true. I feel bad, but like here's the thing with Columbus, right? When they came in, like, again, expansion, the way that the NHL used to do expansion is stupid. And they also came in the Western Conference, being a team that plays in the Eastern time zone. So it's like, I don't know how they still have a franchise, because like everything was kind of stacked against them until they moved to the East, where they could actually play most of their games when people could watch them.
True.
Like, not everyone's like me who wants to stay up till 10:30 and start
Yeah.
watching a hockey game then, right? Like most
Right.
people in this time zone are like, no, that's when my game ends and I'm going to bed.
Exactly. So I was just like, fucking Columbus, man. Like I was so happy to see the Sharks get Celebrini, because let's be honest, they had lost so many marketable huge names, whether it was
Mhm.
Thornton, Marlowe, Pavelski, Burns, whoever. They lost all those names, and it's like, okay, who do you have left? Couture and Vlasic? Fuck,
Mhm.
they didn't really market those names to begin with. So the fact that they now have Celebrini and Smith, and then you have guys like, Dickinson and Mukamadulin, like you've got some pieces that are in the pipeline that in a couple of years, like, oh, this is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
And William
So,
Eklund, like, I don't think
yeah,
anyone's talking enough about how
you are
much William
correct.
Eklund has come
If
on.
if Eklund is a Hurricane, a Ranger, a Bruin, dude, there are people on NHL Network like rubbing one out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like William Eklund. I think if he gets any less than 60 points this year, I think he could hit 80. I mean, obviously, I think at some point the scoring for the Sharks is going to slow down a little bit, but I still think
Not
like
this
if
week.
all things, I think all things considered, like if he should be between 60 and 80 points, and I think if he does less than that, I think I'd be pretty disappointed.
Dude, well, and so this is the thing I thought was so funny. So what is Eklund essentially? He's a winger, yes?
Mhm.
Okay, and and this is me not like trying to like poke the stick at Hockey Jerk, but I just love the fact that after the trade, when they traded away Timo Meier, it's like, oh, the Sharks are going to spend the next 10 years looking for the next Timo Meier, and I'm like, but what if it's William Eklund? You know what I
Different
mean?
player. Yeah, I mean, different, completely different players though. I mean, William Eklund's a playmaking wing, who can still shoot the puck. Timo
And
Meier is a
Meyer's a nasty bitch.
nasty power forward.
But
Two very different players, I
still
think.
fun to watch.
But yeah.
So let's get to the trades. I wanted to revisit both of these because I just think they're fucking
The real
hysterical.
litigation. I love it.
I'm sorry?
I said, the relitigation.
Yeah, relitigation is great. So so we're gonna start with Karlsson, and we're just comparing it to Granlund.
Okay.
Each 23 games played. Obviously, one's a center, one's a defenseman, but
Yeah.
you have to love the fact that Granlund, during that time, each have played 23 games. Granlund has twice as many points as Karlsson, and you're talking Granlund at a -4 versus Karlsson -13. Not to mention the fact that Johan Garpenloff said Karlsson should not be on the Four Nations team
I
because
still think that's crazy.
but I love
Like,
it.
because like you need okay, look at maybe you don't put him out there, but I still think like you could do a lot worse than Erik Karlsson on a power play. Like, because
Sure.
it's Team Sweden. You don't have to fucking play him 30 minutes. You just have to put him out when the power play happens.
Yeah. But either way, you look at this, but this is the whole thing of like, we're just comparing two players. We're not even throwing in all the ancillary pieces that I think I'm okay in saying went the Sharks' way.
Yeah.
They freed up $10 million and, got a couple extra pieces. Was Mukamadulin part of this or no?
No, he was in the Timo Meier trade.
Okay, so we're gonna get to that one. But who was the guy that we sent to Vancouver? Was he the one that was part of this? That we're kind of like up on for a little bit, and then ended up going to Vancouver.
No.
Who am I thinking?
I'm trying to think. Who am I thinking here? No, I'm confused.
Oh
Getting
my
my trades
gosh,
mixed up.
he was a guy that we're all kind of. I mean, we weren't like waxing poetic, but it was definitely a guy that we were kind of like juiced about, and then ended up sending him to Vancouver or something. I remember him going up north, and we didn't get anything.
I'm trying to think of who we sent to Vancouver.
It wasn't something. Okay. Anyway. Yeah. So you look at this trade right now, just based on the numbers, and the whole thing is numbers don't lie. And you have to look at that. And there's been a couple articles over the last like month where it's just like, in Pittsburgh, where it's like, Erik Karlsson fucking sucks. And I'm like, yeah, I tried to tell you. But then you look at, nope, not Cechek. I appreciate that, Molasses. It wasn't Cechek. It was somebody that had kind of not Mukamadulin sized name.
No, Easymont went to
No, AC
Tampa.
Mont went to Tampa. No, somebody went to Vancouver. Oh, fuck. I almost had it. Oh, I could almost see it. Somebody's going
I
to
got
come
nothing.
through. Somebody's going to come through. But let's talk about the other trade for a minute. Timo versus Zetterlund. Each player, 24 games into the season.
Mhm.
Zetterlund, 9 goals, 7 assists, 16 points. Timo, 7 goals, 8 assists, 15 points. Zetterlund, +6 on one of the worst teams on the fucking planet.
True.
Timo, +8 on a very good Devils team.
So
Woo.
I've seen this kind of doing the rounds, and I think the one thing.
Oh, dude, revisionist history is my most favorite history.
But here's the problem with this, right? Because everyone's like, "Oh man, we got Fabian Zetterlund. He's way better than Timo Meier." Timo Meier is shooting a normal 9%. Say Fabian Zetterlund shooting 20%.
Oh, dude, that's not sustainable at all.
100. And that's my point. That is my point. Like, I'm not trying to and again, I'm not I like Fabian Zetterlund. Fabian Zetterlund is great, and I think he's going to be a part of this team going forward. But I just think that again, Timo Meier, he is not.
All right, do me a favor. Somebody throw me the let's see, SJ Barracuda. Somebody throw me the roster from like 2 seasons ago. That's what I'm looking for. Because I'm telling you, this is gonna fucking drive me nuts. Where I'm like, I remember that guy. Like
I'm drawing a blank. Like,
we were into this fucking guy. Like we were like, oh yeah, I dig him. And then like as soon as we like traded him to like Vancouver or some shit, and everybody was like, yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah. It sounds like this fan base for sure.
Oh, dude, that's totally us.
He's my favorite player. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, it's always my favorite. Ah, fuck him. Shit. All right, somebody's gonna have to send me the fucking list of defensive players. But anyway, all right. So we revisited Meier and Karlsson trades. I mean, dude. You look at both of those trades, and I'm sitting there. No, not.
I still think and I don't want people to get it twisted.
But I appreciate that.
I don't want people to get it twisted. Like, I think that the Sharks did well in both of those trades.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that like the fact that again that Fabian Zetterlund shooting like almost 20%, like that's not sustainable. It's
not at all. And Molasses, not Agazino. I'm telling you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it was Cechek. Where did Cechek go to?
Vancouver, I think.
Okay, then. Okay. Whoever said Cechek to begin with, I think that's who I was thinking of. So that's on me. That's on me. Did somebody say Cechek? I thought so, but it was Molasses. Molasses said Cechek. That's who I was thinking of. So anyway, I don't remember what the point was because it was so long ago. But anyway, the other thing I want to cover. Again, like we talked about the Turkey Day being like used to be huge at the Tank. It was a fucking always a packed house when the Blackhawks would come to town. The Sharks need to work harder to promote this Celebrini kid. And I said it when I had a really good time earlier this week. I did like one of my the first after darks, like the first after dark that I have done in like 5 years or something. It was a lot of fun to hang out with Jules, and we talk about the woodish things. But it was so fun. Like I might have to do a couple more after darks this season, but to sit there and think about like, God damn, the Sharks. What are we doing here with the with the promoting? Like Celebrini, he's got 7 points in 4 games. National writers, guys back east are more jacked about this 18-year-old phenom than the fucking local media here, whether it's radio, TV, the news, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, look, I know you guys used to have a lot of marketable faces that you look at Burns, You look at Thornton, you look at Pavelski. These are all very hairy guys that are very fun to promote. They will do some cool shit. But I'm sitting there going, this is driving me crazy. And I'm like, fuck, man, we used to do, what was it? Like Pavelski. He's a horrible fucking detective, but he's a great, winger. He's a great tipper. And it was, like Joe Thornton and Brent Burns. They suck at getting haircuts, but they're great hockey players. Like, there would be a lot of fun in it. Dude, I don't know if you've seen the promotional video or the commercial that they do. Dude, it comes off like a fucking it's almost like a public service announcement. Like, go vote, please go vote. Like that's how it comes off. And I'm like, there's nothing fun about this. Like, when it comes on, I don't like it. It's got to go 15 seconds in before I'm like, oh, they're promoting the Sharks. Like, I don't even get it. Versus, the whole, they're more fun at our house than your. Like, I love the fact when they would have that one where like Donskoy was like sitting out in the backyard with a leaf blower, and the guy's like, Jonas, Jonas, dude, I was laughing my ass off. You've got Joe Thornton plunging a toilet, and he's like, this is fucking Burnsy's job, like that type of shit. And I'm like, did it all just die with COVID? Like, did all your humor fucking leave? Like, Celebrini, look at this fucking kid. You've got the big people, Friedman, LeBron, Wyszynski, all like, fucking watch this kid. Stay up late, watch Sharks games. This kid is electrifying. And I'm sitting there going, Sharks, promote. Do your fucking thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, this team needs to. You need to start. I mean, like, again, you gotta start promoting the next wave of guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
dude, half of the entire side of SAP that faces Santa Clara Street should just be Celebrini's face.
Yeah,
that's all it should be. I'm just saying. I said this on Wednesday. I want to drink my Celebrini Bellini.
Mm-hmm.
While eating my Celebrini weenie, wearing a Celebrini beanie. Come on. Again, like, Pavs is a lousy detective. They're more fun at their house than your house. You had Hurdle ironing a shirt going, what was it? Oh, God. What the hell was the name of that song? The Christmas thing?
Holiday sweater.
Yeah, he's a holiday sweater, sitting there like that shit was hysterical. Mm-hmm. Let's get back to that. Where are these commercials? Have some fun with the kids. Finally, and this is just a quick one for me, dude. I saw a lot of writers get raked on social for asking dumb questions, posting clickbait articles, and taking a relatively benign tweet, turning it into an article because it had a clickbait title. I'm not going to rake them for the questions they asked. If anything, I would, like, fucking rake some of the coaches and players because, god damn, did they give cliche answers. It's one of the reasons why we don't have, like, we have been offered time with players like, hey, would you like to talk to this player, whatever. And a lot of times I turn it down because I'm just like, let's be honest. What are they going to... I remember when we talked to Ferraro during COVID. And Ferraro, one of the nicest fucking people on the planet.
Yeah, super nice guy.
Yeah, but, if I'm being 100 and totally honest, it's, I would ask him some questions and he would give me the standard answer, the cliche. Again, I think going to a gym and working out with Mario, going to a bar, having a drink would probably be like one of the best experiences of my life. But, when you talk to some of these guys, they know it's being recorded, but they're going like, they just, there's a switch in their head where you just, and it's like cliche. So got to give 100%. 100% of the time. And, you know, it's all the cliche shit.
200-foot game.
Yeah, 200-foot game. Got to play both
Pucks in
ends.
deep.
All the pucks deep. Play all ends of the ice. Blah blah blah. So anyway, so you know, to see some of the writers get raked for that, like I don't blame the writers. They're playing the fucking game. They're required to do a lot of that shit.
Yeah.
But it's just, you know, could a couple of those writers like do a little bit more into being transparent and saying, hey, you know, this is my requirement. You know, you might not like it, but this is part of it. You know, yeah, they could probably do that. But like, let's not fucking rake them. It's, you know, it's part of the gig. We get it. Heroes and zeros for this week. I mean, I have to go Celebrini.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, replaced Granlund when he got injured with the other Lunds. Didn't miss a beat. 7 points in 4 fucking games. A +4, 49.2 in the dot. Named Rookie of the Month. How do you not say Celebrini hero?
Well, the reason I won't is because I did it last week.
Yeah.
And I like
Oh,
to
okay.
change
So
it up,
now
right?
you're like, this week, fuck that guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I mean, it's like it's kind of the same thing with zeros, right? Like I don't want to pick on the same guy,
Ferraro.
and I'm not going to blow the same guy up. So my hero of the week is going to be Will Smith because he
Absolutely
just kind of went off, and I think, you know, gained some confidence and had a really good week, and I'm hoping that this is like again, I would love for I don't know if I'd love for them to siphon Calder votes from each other, but I'd love for them to both be in the conversation, right?
Absolutely. I got no problem finishing 1-2.
So I like Will Smith's game. I think again, like it's a guy, you know, who did have a rough start to the season. I think all that stuff is true, but I think he was really good this week. He's starting to figure it out, and this is why you always bet on talent.
Hell yeah. And I'm going to throw a what do they call that? A honorable mention.
Yep.
To the defense this week, contributing points to 4 games. All 6 defensive players had at least 1 point, 17 in total. Wallman with 6 alone.
I know.
Dude.
Maybe 60 points isn't unreasonable.
I was going to say, bro, like, we might have to
I still feel like that's a lot, but I mean, but yeah, I mean, a great week for Wallman for sure.
Yeah, we're going to have to get, I mean, Venmo works in Canada, right?
No. No, it does not.
Oh, shit. Well, all right. I know how to envelope with cash works. So a 0 this week. And I just talked about how great Wallman is, but I was just like, you know what? I literally, at the beginning of the week, I'm like, no, I'm going to put Wallman on my list for a 0 because, dude, like you killed it. 2 goals, 6 points, a +5. But in the Ottawa game, you went starfish defensive posture. And I was like,
I mean, it's going to happen once in a while. So it's not, it can't be your go-to move. The problem with Brent Burns was it was his go-to move.
That's true. So my 0 for this week, and I have 2, is, and I kind of mentioned it earlier, Warsofsky. That's like, dude, we're 27 games in. Your team is 29th in the league. You're popping off to the media like it's the playoffs. Pick your spots. Be better. Like, dude. Or at least be as funny as Daryl Sutter is.
The teal curtain is really dumb this year.
Oh, dude. And it's so thick and so heavy. I hate it. But the other thing is, NBCSN, the production team. How we're 27 games in. How are you making these many mistakes? Let's just take a look.
Oh,
Whereas, I'm pretty sure I had the video here. I think I do. I might not, but let's see. Oh, studio cut. Here we go.
Wow. It's been a while. Lots of offense. A great showing by Mackenzie Blackwood here tonight as he puts up his 5th victory of the year.
Yeah, so we're all watching the final, Han and Remender are talking about So this is what happened in the game. Really good game, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden we just go to fucking Al and Ted in the studio for no fucking reason. They're both sitting there just, hands together and like, okay, when are we coming on? Like, oh my fucking God. And, this was posted, but not just me. There were other people that posted this, like, what the fuck is going on? And there were a couple people that said like, oh, it's a, like, why are you losing your shit over a fun little mistake or whatever? And I'm like, if it was the first one of this entire season, I wouldn't have mentioned it. But like, it's literally every 3 shows, like the graphics people are out to fucking lunch. They're posting scores that are incorrect. They're posting, the stats that are incorrect. Like, it's just, they literally have let the lunatics run the asylum at NBCSN. And so it's like, if you're going to fucking have a problem with me calling it out, then stop. It's just like the whole thing of like, I can't believe that guy flipped his bat when he hit a home run. Then don't give up the home run, fuckface. Yeah. So it's like, you don't be pissed at me because I'm calling out your fucking mistakes. Be pissed that you made the fucking mistake. That's all I'm saying.
My 0 of the week is, it's hard because like it's one game, but it was so bad. It's Mackenzie Blackwood for the Ottawa game. And I feel terrible doing it because he was really good in Seattle.
7 of 11.
But here's the thing, though, right? Like, here's the thing with Mackenzie Blackwood in that game. Like, at this time, right? Like, there was a lot of trade scuttlebutt around, like teams possibly inquiring about Mackenzie Blackwood, right? People are talking about, can Mackenzie Blackwood
Colorado
be on the Four Nations team, right? Or the Four Nations Cup team, right? Like, could he be the third goalie on that team and like stuff like that? And then it's like all the talk seems to heat up the most, and then it's like, and then that's the game that you get, right? Now, I think Colorado going to Wedgwood, I think that's fine. I think he was good behind Dallas. I think nothing's going right in Colorado as far as goaltending right now. So I mean, I'm not upset Mackenzie Blackwood is still here, but I mean, like, again, like the save percentage speaks for it. That's a game the Sharks should have won.
Oh, absolutely.
It's on Mackenzie Blackwood that they didn't.
Yeah. Well, and I loved the post game where I don't know if it was post game of Ottawa or pre-game to Seattle, where they asked him about that game, and he was just like, yeah, it felt like I should have just fucking stayed in the dressing room for the first 2 periods. It was just like,
I think that's the other thing too, like, because he has been a guy who's been shelled, and I wonder if it's just a situation where Mackenzie Blackwood just can't focus if he's not getting shelled.
Well, I was gonna say, like, he had to have been sitting there going, wait a minute, when did I get on a team that's actually defending? It's like stopping shots from getting to me. Like, when did this shit happen?
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's hard. Like, on a week like this, it's really hard to find a 0, and it's definitely, like, I know some people are like, oh wow, what a nitpick, and it is nitpicking. You're 100%
sure, that's
right.
what we're here
but
for,
I mean,
dude.
Like, but I think if you're looking for a truly bad performance this week, that's it.
That's the one. So what else is okay? So here's a couple things that I have to bitch about just for a hot second.
Okay,
dude, no one is a bigger Pavelski fan than me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like they retired Jumbo's number after retiring Marlowe's number, and so everybody and their fucking mother is going, well, no, we got to do Pavs next year. We got to do somebody, whoever. Yeah, no, we really don't. Yeah, like, no one's a bigger Pavs fan than me. Believe me, I have the fucking jerseys in the closet to prove it. But we need to stop with the retire 8 bullshit. Yeah, I mean, he's my favorite captain too, but you look at the Shark stats, he doesn't own a single Shark stat. It's Jumbo, it's Marlowe, there's a couple other guys here and there, like, I think Friesen owns like one weird stat. But the thing is, Pavelski, he doesn't own a single stat. Not one. I mean, like maybe like biggest tipper, but that's not in the list.
Yeah, it's this, and this is, I think this is the
So
problem once you
Ring of
start
Honor.
retiring numbers, is like you have to stop to make sure that the floodgates don't completely
Yeah,
open.
Ring of
Like
Honor.
and again, yeah, I love Joe Pavelski, but at the same time, like, are we, because it's like if you retire Pavs, then who's next? Are we
Oh, it's
how many more
Burns, it's
numbers are retiring from teams
Klo,
that
it's
didn't do
Nolan, it's
shit,
Ricci, it's Urbe. Yeah, dude, the floodgates
right?
just fucking open.
Like this team, like, and not that, look at, it's an individual honor, I get it, but like it's at some point, like, we do have to come back to reality and remember that this team hasn't won shit yet. I mean, they've won series, but they've never won a Stanley Cup, right?
Exactly.
Like I could see, like, a lot of these other teams that start retiring numbers from those teams won Stanley Cups.
Well, and you look at Marlowe, it's like most games played ever. Like beat Gordie Howe. Okay, but like I get that. You look at Joe Thornton's career, it's like most assists ever, passer of a generation. Absolutely, I fucking get it. Like no player ever, aside from Joe Thornton, won a Ross and a Hart while playing for two different teams in the same season.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, he's gonna go in the Hall of Fame next, as soon as he's eligible.
yeah, it's going to be like first ballot.
Oh yeah,
It's
100%.
it's not even going to be discussed. So like those are things where I look at Pavelski again. Everybody point at me when they're like, "Do you know who the biggest Pavelski fan is?" It's right here. And I'm saying I would not put him in. He's in the Hall of Great or the Hall of Really Good, but not
Well,
in
if
the
you were
Hall of
to
Fame.
here's the thing: if you're retiring, like, so are retiring Couture's number 2.
Fuck no.
Well, but I mean, if you want, if I could make the argument you could make for Joe Pavelski, I could make for Logan Couture.
See, and that's my whole thing. It's like out of both of those players, Pavelski and Couture, it's like you can only choose one to retire. It would absolutely be Pavelski. Like, granted, Couture fucking showed up when it mattered the most in the playoffs. I can say similar things to Pavelski, like that fucking guy showed up when it mattered most. But for me, I feel like we're going down a fucking well on this. It's just, loves me some Pavs. To me, Pavs meant more to this team than Couture did, despite the fact that Couture, like if you were to sit there and analyze every single goal that each guy scored, maybe Couture scored, and assign value, maybe Couture scored a couple more that were more valuable than Pavelski.
I mean, in the playoffs, like Couture just scores clutch. That's all Couture does, is score clutch goals.
Yeah, but either way, it's just like let's just sit there and admire Thornton and Marlowe for a little while. Let's just give it a few seasons, okay? Maybe the Sharks will figure out what the hell a Ring of Honor is. All right. So, I mean, we talked about all of those Sharks things. Let's talk about the other team for a hot minute.
Ooh, Barracuda.
So, the Barracuda, look at them. 12-6-0 right now. Currently second place by percentage, just behind Calgary, and having 2 games in hand. They played a pair against Abbotsford this weekend, won both, and a lot of goals were scored. In the first one, the Cuda squandered a 3-0 lead.
Yeah, yes, they did.
Before scoring a pair of goals in the last 5 minutes. Askarov stops 33 of 36. Schultz has 3 assists. Sabrin comes through with an assist and a game winner. And with the win, the Barracuda on that game boast the Pacific Division's best home record, 7-2. Is Tech CU becoming a fortress? If it is, I need to see more fans there, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, this Barracuda team is good. And if you want to, like, I know it's hard because it sucks, right? Because I think like the Barracuda doing good, and then the Sharks have a week like this where it kind of steals their thunder,
Yeah, right.
where it's like, oh, well, I can watch the Sharks because I mean NHL hockey's better than AHL hockey. Like those are just facts. But that being said,
Yeah, but
yeah, this
AHL
Barracuda team is
hockey's
very good.
cheaper. It's a little cheaper. So the CUDA second game versus Abbotsford, a 7-4 victory, and who knew? Thomas Bordeleau, who's that fucking guy? Where's he been? Comes through with a goal and assist. Cagnoni, 2 goals. Colin Graff with 3 helpers, and you got 9 different CUDA players making the score sheet. Boom, CUDA score a season high 4 power play goals. Again, this is another one. I feel like both games, Ian, it just seems like both games, the CUDA in the first 30 minutes were kind of like, oh, we're playing hockey. And then like, yeah, we're playing hockey in the last 30,
Yeah, a little bit uneven, but I mean, still really good. Second game, I thought, Gabriel Carrier came in and had another good game with Askarov, or not Askarov, sorry, Romanov, who seems to continue to be out. I'm not sure what the
I
story
was going to
with
say, what the fuck's going on?
Romanov right now, but Gabriel Carrier has come up and I thought he had a really good game again. Askarov continues to be Askarov, obviously. Yeah, I mean, just really a really good weekend. It's hard to and again, the theme of the Barracuda is very much contributions from everywhere. A lot of guys chipping in for points in both games. It's hard to. I don't have a 0 for this week because again, like the Barracuda scored 12 fucking goals.
I was
in
going
2
to say
games.
it, dude.
Like I don't know if you can I'm sure I could I could pick some nits somewhere, but I don't. I thought like even like a guy who's really disappointed me so far this season. I thought Shakir Mukhamadullin started looking more like himself this weekend as well, which is nice to see. It's nice to see obviously Thomas Bordeleau get on the board. Luca Cagnoni again just
I love that guy.
continues to be great. Man, it's hard. Like again, hero, I guess it'd be Cagnoni because I mean that dude just scores, puts up points.
Dude, at will. Random videos saying, why are they not selling at games though? This team should be selling at games every game with their record. I mean, if we're talking about the Barracuda, which I think we are, honestly, I think it's just a lack of fucking promotion. You have to fucking, buy airtime and promote it, push it, get it out there, let the people fucking know, and find some faces to market. And
I just think, and I think it's just a tough sell too, right? Because again, it's like as much as like I think that this team is worthy of support, and I think you could spend money a lot worse ways than going to a Barracuda game.
Hell yeah!
It comes down to the fact that it's not, but it's not NHL hockey.
But but I don't even give a fuck that it's not NHL hockey. I just know that when I go to TechCU, there's not a bad seat in the house.
That's true.
Like every seat is like chef's kiss. They've got some fantastic options for food and bev. You've got that cove behind the opposing,
Cove.
Yeah, the cove behind the net, which is just so much fun to post up at and hang out. I mean, it's just, I hate to say it, but like to me, going to a Barracuda game, it's more fun and more economical than going to a Sharks game. It's just a lot of fun. But anyway, right now the CUDA are 4th power play in the league, the best PK in the league.
Yeah, best PK, yeah. Which is good because they take a lot of penalties.
Right? Yeah, they do. 91%. I was going to say, they do get an awful lot of practice.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Oh, and then Joshua pointing out as well, like the parking is a lot cheaper. You're absolutely right. This week, the Barracuda have 3 at home. We got 1 against San Diego, who are like 4-12. Like San Diego is the Barracuda's bitch so far. Then next weekend, a pair against Coachella, a series that could, if everything goes the right way, could vault the Barracuda into the top of the division. I don't know who Calgary's playing, but if they drop both and the Cuda, I'm just saying.
Yeah, Calgary's been
Dude,
so
fucking
good,
Dustin Wolf, fuck you.
No, it's not Dustin Wolf. Dustin Wolf's on the big club.
Oh, but no, but there's some. Okay, then who's the other?
Cooley.
Who am I thinking of?
Devin Cooley.
Cooley, yeah, former Shark, you fucking traitor. But remember, December 7th is the teddy bear toss. So if you're gonna go to the
teddy bear toss, super fun.
Love those. And I love the people that go to Costco and like drop like the $50 or $60 to get the teddy bear that is like 7 foot tall that takes like 8 people to get over the glass. I love that.
Yeah, and like Puckeye saying zero promotion for the CUDA. Now I'm not there, so I don't know. But like, I like, do they promote the CUDA at all during Shark games?
No, that's the whole thing.
That's crazy to me,
dude. The fact that in the last like year and a half, like the fact that formerly what was it, Brody and Brownie or whatever, and now it's Al and Ted. Either way, the pre-post group, the fact that they even acknowledge the CUDA now, I'm just like blown away by.
Yeah,
dude, they were so ignored. So the fact that they're doing that, I'm just like, holy shit. Prospects this week. Okay, so we got some really shitty news. Quentin Musty broke his hand, as reported by Jeff Merrick. So dude is out for the World Juniors, out for the trade deadline. But the weird thing is, per hockey_Robinson on Twitter, he wrote, as more and more leaks come out regarding the USA's World Junior selections, I was told Musty, before breaking his hand, was not going to be invited. Why is Quentin persona non grata? Is this? I mean, he wanted out of where he's at now. Is this guy kind of a bad egg? Is he a head case? What are we doing?
No. Here's what's going on with this, right? And I understand like the inputs would be like, oh, this guy must be bad or whatever. The thing with you, there's a lot of politics involved here too, and there's also it's politics one and role another. So we talked about this last week about Quentin Musty, like how he would, even having the tear he was on, I said he was going to have a hard time getting on the U.S. team because Quentin Musty scores goals, but he doesn't play defense. Right.
Oh, so he's like Ovechkin.
Yeah. And here's the problem, but the U.S. has a couple of guys that can fill that role. Cole Yzerman being another one. USA Hockey will generally favor if there's like 2 guys or 3 guys that are kind of getting looked at for the same spot. USA Hockey's always going to go to the guy if they're close, which I think that these players would be. But a guy like Cole Yzerman's already playing in the US system, so he's going to get, if it comes down to that kind of a situation, they're always going to go to the guys that are in their system first. Right? Quentin Musty plays in the OHL. It's not uncommon for guys in the OHL, if they're looking for similar players, if they can find that player in college or the USHL or whatever, they will go to that player first, usually.
Oh, okay. Going back to what I was saying earlier about the CUDA, Molasses saying, food and bev is way too expensive, man, and they promote it as family-friendly prices. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I kind of, I agree with you, Molasses. I think the food and bev price at both Sharks games and CUDA games are hella expensive. And at least with games at the Sharks, like there are some, but you can go to Little Italy. You can go to San Pedro. There are places that you can like chow down before going to a game. So yeah, that way you're not hungry and trying to like chow down at the tank. The problem is at Tech CU, there really isn't a lot of options in the way of like trying to get something to eat before going to a game. One of the ones is Narrative Fermentation's Killer Tap Room that's like a half mile away. If you're lucky, you can get over there and maybe they'll have like a killer food truck in the back that's doing like tacos or smash burgers or something. But no, I mean, molasses, that's a great point. Like for
Yeah, I mean, these things
texting
add up, right?
you,
Like once you take into consideration parking and then food and beverage,
oh,
like
dude.
that adds up really quickly. But I still think if you're just going to watch a game, like, I don't know.
I was going to say though, but if you're just watching a game, like, dude, $12 tickets? Yeah. Fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't, obviously I'm not local, so I don't know the area. I don't know if you're not driving, how easy it is to get to Texia, if you're using public transit. I'm not, I have none of those answers.
So the other thing when it comes to the youth and the prospects, dude, Sam fucking Dickinson. Like, I get London is a wagon. I get it.
They are 100% a wagon.
But Chief has 40 points in 23 games.
Yeah.
It's like, just imagine the Sharks in a couple seasons and their defensive squad is Dickinson, Cagnoni, Polkamp, Mukamadulin, Thompson, Thrun, and Vlasic, because, he's never going to fucking retire.
He's never going to retire. Yeah.
That's the only thing that bums me out about the Sharks right now. It's just like the defense is just, it's not great. But
yeah, but
God
you don't want to,
damn, the pipeline looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I like, and you just want to, like, I think that the Sharks are doing the right thing right now as far as like who's on the team, who's off the team. Like, yeah, I know that there's going to be people like, oh, we play Jan Ruda, why isn't Cagnoni on the team? And it's like, just let it happen. It'll happen when it happens, and it'll be fine. You don't, like, because again, man, like, you don't want to. I understand, like, I get the prospect porn. Everyone wants to see the prospects, but like, you have to do it at the right time, because again, like, if you look at there's been other teams who tried to go roll just all kids and it never went well, and most of those teams ended up rebuilding their rebuilds. So let's just relax and it'll be fine.
All right, so this week the Sharks will basically continue on their road trip. I mean, obviously it started last night in Seattle, but we got to go and they even talked about it. They're like, when was the last time like we started a road trip on the West Coast and then all of a sudden had to go from one coast to the other? Like, it had been quite some time. So Sharks are going to get this roadie going. They're going to go to the nation's capital. That's going to be a toughie. I mean, dude, Washington, #1 in the division, and I believe #2 in the league overall points-wise. But if I told you that, like, Minnesota was #1 overall, you'd go, fuck off.
None of this is real.
Right? So Washington, they're going to head there. Dude, Washington is a fucking powerhouse away. They've only lost twice away, but they actually have 4 losses and an OT loss at home, but they've won their last 4 games. So you sit there, of course, and go, okay, they're due. The Sharks are going to be the sleeper team, right?
Yeah, Washington makes no sense. Like, Washington has no business being as good as they are.
Dude, I don't even get that. So they're going to face the Capitals. Like, I mean, everything tells you that's going to be a Sharks loss, which to me goes, I might, if I'm hockey jerk and I've got that fucking betting app, I'm like, yeah, I might have to put a little scratch on the Sharks on this one. Like, they might surprise the Capitals, catch them sleeping, right?
Plus 32 goal differential. Yeah, this team makes no sense.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's insane. Like, they're basically, you run the numbers, they're essentially statistically the best team in the league. That's, of course, what makes me want to, like, drop a little scratch on the Sharks and go, yeah, I think they might pull some shit out their ass.
Yeah, Ovechkin's out, but I don't. Yeah, this team, I'm looking forward to this game because I do, because like the Washington Capitals make no sense, because you look at the team on paper and you're like, this is not a good team. So I am fascinated to watch them play. Dude,
can't wait. Then the Sharks head over to Tampa, South Florida, play a couple games. Tampa Bay Lightning. Okay, they're fourth in the Atlantic now. They're okay at home, 7-4-1. The away, they're a paltry 500, 5-5-1. And they are 5-3-2 in their last 10, and they lost their last game. Again, this is another game where I sit there and go, I think the Sharks can pull one out of this, and maybe Goodrow, he might not play, but maybe he has a little bit of a fucking speech for the boys and said, "I won 2 cups here, you fuckers. Let's," So you got that. Then they head to the defending champs, first in the Atlantic, the Florida Panthers, on a 3-game win streak, but 4-6 in their last 10. And, they're decent at home, 8-5-1. So, every team that they're playing is on a win streak and has a winning record at home. So,
Yeah.
it's going to be a tough trip for the boys.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be a rough one. Because again, like these are all good teams that have been. They're not just good teams, but they're good teams that are playing good. Like I think Florida's been interesting. I think that their goaltending's been kind of up and down. So it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see who they get because again, when you're the San Jose Sharks, you sometimes get to play the backup, which is nice.
Sure. I mean, you know what? I think I might. I'm not putting money on it or anything like that, but I like as a prognosticator. I might say I feel like the Sharks could go 1-1-1 this week, a win, a loss, and an overtime loss. So I'm going to say with 6 points available, they'll pick up 3 of them. I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah, I might. I don't know, man. It's hard because again, like. I look at the Washington Capitals. I'm like, this team has no business being as good as it is, but we'll see. We'll see, man. I don't know. I think they're gonna have a rough week. I think this is why I say like when you eat good, you enjoy it because I don't know.
Right. So with that, I think we need to give away something, and I'm trying to figure out how to what should be the question. So I've got a Cody C. Since Cody CC scored this week, we have a signed Cody CC sign along with a Sharks Hawaiian shirt. So a CC sign and a Hawaiian shirt. I'm thinking, last year it was all about sending emails to Jerk, and we were going to predict the future, whether it was like, what was the power play for the Sharks? What were they going to do on that? And now I'm kind of like, no, I want to ask a question of, like, I want to do something live. And so let's see if I can pull this up here real quick. And unfortunately, I am having to fucking, type it in. Typically, I like I want it to be something that people can't fucking, type in. It's got to be something of like, you experienced it, you were there. But here we go. All right. Is everybody listening? All right. The first person in the chat to tell me the date there was a game that the Sharks played where Puck Guy, you're involved in this, so you don't get to play. But you can help for next week. Absolutely. Come up with a question for next week. So there was a game that was played that I want to say maybe it was against Dallas for some reason. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But I'm looking at the date. There was a game that Mike Ricci scored a hat trick on the day that it was actually hat giveaway day. What was the first person to put in the date of that game is going to win the CC sign, or whatever this is, a CC autographed thing, and a Hawaiian shirt. Between, you get to choose medium or XL, because those are the only ones we fucking have. But the first person to put that in the chat, you're going to do it. And while we wait for that, remember to like and subscribe. You can help keep us commercial free by using that super chat option. Give us a little something during the live shows. Better yet, we really appreciate it if you use Venmo. Find us at Teal Town USA, and you can find links to our social media, podcast apps, and more, always included in the show notes. Find everything on tealtownusa.com, and we're on Blue Sky as well. So there you go. So Molasses is the first one to get it in there. So
he just wants the kudos.
So so I don't want it. I just want the. He's like, I just want to know that I can fucking Google faster than everybody else. All right. So who is this? Knights? That. Okay. I'm not going to try to pronounce that because I'll get canceled. But sir, KNIGXTZ. Hit us up on the Twitter, the Tweety at Teal Town USA. Hit us up there, follow us, and send us a note. I'll hook you up with this Sharks Territory sign that is autographed by Cody Cece, along with a Hawaiian shirt. You can choose the size, medium or XL. So, and Molasses, thank you. That's very cool. And he's saying it is Knights. And that's the whole thing. Like, we could be dicks here and go, nope, that's a Golden Vegas thing. Fuck off. But no, we're fine with it. It's all good.
We're chill.
Yeah, we're chill. So anyway, follow us for all of those things. But yes, sir, Knights, follow Teal Town USA on the Tweety. Send us a note.
Do we have an email we can send this to if he doesn't have Tweety?
AJ at Teal Town USA.
There you go.
So there you go.
Don't tell me you don't have email. I'll fight you.
Yeah. Yeah. If you don't have the Tweety, at AJ. No, not at AJ. AJ at tealtownusa.com. So yeah, send it off, but and make sure you put your username. And like, I have a cocktail from time to time, so be like, okay, so you did this fucking Pucknologist, and like, I won the Cody Cece thing, and I'll be, oh yeah, now I remember. All right, so Ian, sir, I mean, what are you looking forward to while the Sharks head out on this
interesting
East Coast trip? I mean, obviously, it's a lot of
I'm
just like, are you not entertained?
Watching hockey and finishing games and going to bed at a decent hour. That's what I look forward to this week. For win, lose, or draw, I'm just looking forward to watching games at a decent hour and like being able to watch the whole game and not have to catch like the second and third period the next day.
All right. See, this week I'm gonna be interested to see. Like, does Thompson get a game? Does he, does somebody else? Because, dude, I'm telling you, Ruda, I'm just like,
Yeah, I'm curious to see how fast if things don't go well quickly, I want to see how fast they scramble back to the one line.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because, I mean, the last games that we saw, it's just like, you've got Granlund. Like, this was the guy who was centering the top line. Almost like, like unspoken captain. And then, boom, he's third line center. And you're like, wait, what? So
I'd be curious to see how many minutes he played, though. Because they'll list him as what I'd be curious to see how many minutes he actually played. Because I'm sure
I'm interested to see that, without a doubt. But if you look at like the last 7 games, Granlund is only played 5 of them, and he's 1.6 points per game, leading the Sharks. Celebrini is second, 1.29. So I look at that and I'm like, fuck, are we going to like Cunnin up on the second line? Like, really?
Yeah.
Okay. And Cunnin, Wenberg, and Toffoli. But then again, Cunnin did have a goal last game. So will Clean Costin stick to the roster? There's like a lot of, because, I've been like Giovanni Smith and Grunstrom, I've been kind of like,
Grunstrom's been like Giovanni Smith's a guy who's just going to draw in whenever. But I think like
it's Guy Factory time.
Yeah, I think Grunstrom's been quietly really good.
All right, but it's will Kleem stick? Will Cardwell stick throughout this road trip? I'm really excited to see what he is able to come up with during this trip, because I mean, let's be honest, that's a huge trip for him.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, obviously it depends on Barclay Goodrow.
Sure, but it's even that thing of like, okay, even if Goodrow gets healthy, if Cardwell is kicking ass, well then maybe Delandria sits.
Well, the problem is like the problem is though is that it's roster limit, right?
Yeah.
Like if Goodrow gets healthy, they have to send someone down.
Well, I mean, but maybe they look at Goodrow and go, "No, you look okay, but we're not really sure. You look a little."
Well, then you don't activate him, right?
Yeah, but, you look a little. I mean,
that's not how that. Unfortunately, if he gets cleared, then they have to send someone down.
Okay, winning the.
Give me a second. I throw my dog out really quick, and then I'll come back. We'll wrap this up.
That's all good. So for the shirt and the CC signed sign, dude, what do you include in the email? Just in the subject line, just put like fucking I1 CC CECI and put your mailing address, your name and mailing address in the email, AJ at Tealtown USA, and there you go. And put like Pucknologists. We're all here. It's a Sunday night. It's December 1st. Put all that shit in there. Hey dude, I won Pucknologist December 1st, Cody CC, and there you go. And include your mailing address. There you go. We'll get it out to you this week. So I'm going to be real interested to see how this week ends. Again, Couture, Vlasic, and Goodrow. That's the other thing that we really didn't even talk about, is the fact that Warsaw said sometime this week that Vlasic should be good to go, which
and then they have to send someone else down.
Well, it's going to be Thompson, let's be honest.
Probably. Yeah, Thompson.
I wish it was fucking Ruda, but so they're going to have to send somebody down. The other thing is,
I think the thing is with Thompson going down though, like it won't be like it sucks because I think he's been good on the Sharks. They could send Thrun down too, but I feel like Thrun draws in the lineup more regularly. But if Thompson goes to the Barracuda, he's going to get minutes. So that's a plus, right? Yeah, you want those minutes. You don't want to fly southwest to games, but you want the minutes. So, it's going to half and half. And I'm still on record saying that we've seen Couture play his last game, but Vlasic, man, he that's a dude where I'm just kind of like, is there any way to like pay him to retire early? You buy him out, but you don't want to do that. You just tried that out. And before we get out of here, Twansky saying, which goalie do you guys think we trade? Well, I mean, I think it's going to be Blackwood because he's the one that has more value. Yeah. It sucks because, like, again, like, I think, like, I like what Mackenzie Blackwood has done. If I had my way, like, I'd maybe, it's hard, right? Because, like, obviously the rebuild obviously is not over. It's, it's coming over the hill, obviously, but we still have ways to go. So I think if someone banged on your door for Blackwood, you probably have to do it. But man, if Blackwood stuck around, like I don't hate it. I don't hate him and Askarov being the tandem next year, because both Blackwood and Vanacek are only signed till the end of the year anyway. Yep. And I'd bring back Blackwood if someone doesn't bang down your door for him. And then Julian also had a question here. What is your bet on if Granlund gets traded or resigns? Again, I don't have an answer to that. I think that I think one thing that you're going to hear a lot of is the Sharks can't do anything because they have no retention slots. I mean, Chief is making 5. Yeah, but at the trade deadline, if you have a team that's banked up a bunch of cap using LTIR, like they can fit. You know what I mean? Like at the salary cap, you can at the trading deadline. Sorry, you can make those moves. Well, and the Sharks have more than enough space to take back a shitty contract. And they do, right? And that's the other thing too. They can take back a contract that's not great. Again, it's kind of like I feel the same way as like Mackenzie Blackwood, right? Like I'm kind of, if he gets traded, great. I hope the return's good. But if he stays, I don't hate that either. Like, I think you could do.
That's my thing when it comes to like Blackwood. I understand like goalies are a different beast, but Granlund, if that's my thing, is if they move him, but the return is shit, then I'm gonna be a little like tilted. You know what I mean?
But it also depends on like what's going on, because again, the one thing that you do have to be concerned about at some point is like, is Granlund going to be in a spot that's taking a spot away from someone who is on the come up, right? And that's the other tricky part with that.
And there was a lot of and I was probably one of them when I saw the return for Timo or Karlsson. I was like, really? That's it? Like we couldn't have done just a little bit better. And then, fast forward to where we are now, and you can look at the numbers and, like they say, numbers don't lie. And you're like, you know what? Not too shabby. And, we saw what happened with Timo earlier this week. Still an angry young man getting suspended because he can't control himself.
I love Timo Meier, man. But yeah, like, yeah, not great. Yeah, it's like, again, it sucks because I think like this is the weird point in the rebuild, right? Where you have to start with an eye to the end of it at some point. Because again, like the hardest part of rebuilds, and I've said this many times, is that they have to end at some point.
Well, here's the little piece of pie I want to bake and ship your way.
Okay.
2 options to keep, and you can only keep one of them.
Okay.
Granlund, Wenberg.
Oh.
Right? Like, that's a saucy meatball right there.
That is a saucy meatball. I think Wenberg, I like Wenberg, but I don't think Wenberg's, I mean, maybe they're both not special. Fuck. I feel like
if I'm looking at the numbers, at the numbers over like the last 7 games, and it's like Granlund, of course, missed 2, but 1.6 points per game. Wenberg 0.71, but then you look at the shooting percentage, and it's like Wenberg is 33, Granlund is 28. And the funny thing is that their time on ice is almost identical. The other thing, though, is Granlund has been way better in the circle, 55% versus 35%. But Wenberg, again, kind of comes off as one of those guys where it's like, I'm not going to score a lot of goals, but I'm going to score big goals.
It's hard because I think they're both transitional pieces.
Yes, I can see that.
That's why I have a hard time with that, because I think they're both transitional pieces. They're like Mackenzie Blackwood.
They're on the wrong side of 30, baby.
Yeah, like they're all transitional pieces. Like, I think that there could be room for guys, obviously, when this ends, but oh man, I don't know. I'd probably, I mean, if gun to my head, Granlund or Wenberg, Granlund.
Yeah, I think I'd go the same. But it's like, this is not a bad problem to have.
No.
Like, you look at all the moves that Big Money Mike has made so far, and there were definitely people, and I was one of them, that was questioning some of them, especially when you look at the Meier deal and the Karlsson deal.
Terrible.
Yeah, the Burns, all of those in the moment, you're like, oh my God. But for me, the Karlsson one, it was like, wait, they freed up $10 million? I don't care what they got back. You know what I mean? And
yeah, that was, I mean, they were in the Karlsson deal there was no way they were going to win that trade. I mean, I think they've done all right.
I feel like they did win it.
But like, I think it was always going to be a hard, like, again, the Penguins, it's easy to go, oh, well, Erik Karlsson is there, but if you think Erik Karlsson's all that's wrong with the Penguins, then you haven't been paying attention.
No, not at all. But I was going to say, the Burns one out of the big three, Timo, Karlsson, Burns. Yeah, the Burns one, you like that one. I think you could sit there and go,
That was a bad trade.
Yeah.
There's nothing redeeming about it. Like, what do you have from that trade still?
Yeah, exactly. So that's the only thing is, you get, and how much did they retain? That was the other part. Like, if you had freed up all that money, then you can sit there and go, Hockey Jerk's favorite player, cap space.
Yeah, I mean that's not the Sharks need cap space. So
yeah, no, but you get my point where it's like
for sure.
At least you could point to that. So that one, but either way, I'm gonna be super duper excited between where we're at now, like just after American Thanksgiving. Let's get to the 4th of July. Like between now and then, you got the trade deadline.
I mean, what I'm angry about is the fact that when this team is good again, we're still going to be paying Tomas Hertl to play for the Golden Knights.
As long as we're still not paying Martin Jones. But just between now and it's like, if Big Money Mike can keep pulling some of these moves, and I mean, dude, I remember like thinking Doug Wilson Jr., some of his picks was just like, yes, we're finally beyond the Tim Burke era. Tired of that shit. And now it seems like a lot of the Doug Wilson Jr. moves, not great. We were all jazzed about Weisblatt. We were all jazzed about who's the other guy he took? Bordeleau or whatever. And Bordeleau, it's
Here the thing is like, it was like with Doug Wilson Jr. and the reason why people were excited, because there definitely was a shift in mindset, but
Yeah.
again, like Tim Burke
Ryan
had
Merkley.
that certain type of player that he really, really liked. Same with Doug Wilson Jr. But it was like there wasn't enough variety.
Yes.
In either of their prospect pools, right? Doug Wilson Jr. fell in love with the short kings.
You're not wrong. But
right, like
man.
just small guys, tons of skill. And look at and there are guys that in the league that have done very well with that mold of player, right?
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Gaudreau was kind of the prototypical short king.
Absolutely.
And there's other guys who have done really, really well under that mold. But again, like you looked at this prospect pool before Mike Greer took it, and Mike Greer has done some, but he's kind of mixed it up. He does favor size maybe a little more than I'd like him to, but.
Well, dude, Eric coming in talking about never forget how jazzed we were about Chekovic and Shmolevsky.
Yeah, but those were okay. But I think the thing that people forget were those were late round picks, right?
Who's that one guy that you were like super duper, not Sandusky?
Oh, that was forever ago.
Yeah, but it just goes to show that like sometimes you get like kind of juiced about a particular guy, and you're like,
sure.
Oh man, like I remember being Nick Petrecki.
And here's the thing with me though, like I like a lot of. If you look at like a lot of the guys that I like in the prospect pool, they're never the top flight guys, because I like the muckers.
Oh sure,
right,
dude, I'm right there with you.
Like, so you look at guys that I like I loved Ozzy Weisblatt. Why? Because he's a small guy that plays like he's 10 feet tall, and maybe he's a little crazy, right? But like, and he's not 10 feet tall, and
the guy's
not
fucking nuts,
100 pounds. Like, but he's nuts, right? Like, there's certain guys that I get juiced about because of the type of player they are. It's not always like because this player is gonna surefire be an NHL player. They're just guys that I like to watch play.
I'm just saying that, like, I can't wait to see this team in like 3 years when you get like, not to be a dick, but it's like, Couture's gone, Vlasic's gone. You get some fat money off the fucking books, but then you get Askarov.
Yeah.
And you get Mukamadul and maybe Cagnoni is ready for prime time. Maybe Furlong is ready for prime time, but you fill up that blue line, and then you look at the forward group, and it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, like Will Smith, Celebrini. We haven't even talked about Beasthead. We have,
B said, and there's another guy who I fucking love. Like,
right?
who's my favorite player on the Barracuda this year? Philip Beestead is my favorite player on the Barracuda. And again, not the flashiest guy, not the guy that's going to get all the points, but I just love the way fucking Philip Beestead plays the game.
Exactly. So I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Like the CUDA are so much fun to watch, but it's like, will Bordelot be here in 2 seasons? Maybe.
Thomas Bordelot's a guy who I think as the prospect pool gets better, like Thomas Bordelot is a guy that Sharks fans really loved for a long time because he was kind of like the best that we had in the entire pool, right?
Well, but the other thing, it's like, dude, when he scored that goal in overtime against Vegas, everybody was like rubbing one out,
For sure.
Oh my God.
I like Thomas Bordelot, but I mean, like Thomas Bordelot, like he's running out of time.
Oh, dude. Yeah, it is very much shit or get off the pot. And like, I don't want to say the same is true for Tristan Robbins, but it's like, stop getting injured, bro.
That's the problem, right? I think Tristan Robbins has had, like, again, another player who I really like and I think could have some upside, but can't stay healthy in the AHL. I can't imagine him staying healthy with bigger guys bearing down on him. He's another guy that's obviously, I think, his time is getting short for, as far as like, can he do something to make that next step in his game? I think Brandon Coe, I'm surprised they brought him back. Same thing.
Yep.
I think, Gushkin, who was mentioned in the chat, like, I think he's a guy who could find a spot on the NHL team at some point. But again, is like, let's say the Sharks get another top 5 pick this year, right? Like, and they go for another scorer, again, who knows who's going to be the guys ranked at that point this year? Because I think this draft's going to be more interesting in that respect. As far as like, I don't think it's like last year it was Celebrini with a bullet. I think there's 2 or 3 guys that could probably be number 1 this year. I don't think there's a number 1 with a bullet guy this year. So it's going to be interesting to see how this draft turns out as far as like kind of like that goes. But again, I think, but I like what Gushkin did when he was on the NHL. I know he didn't put up a ton of points or anything, but I thought he played really well for a guy being asked to play the role he was. Like, I thought the play was generally going the right way when he was on the ice.
Yeah. Jules saying Beestead at a point where he's underrated.
It was hard because, again, like the Barracuda, you got like guys like Luca Cagnoni and Colin Graff kind of stealing the spotlight. But I think
I'd love me some Cagnoni.
Yeah, but I think like Philip Beestead also brings like a lot of the other elements of the game that you really like. That's not like and Philip Beestead's put up a decent number of points.
Well, and Puck Guy also bringing up Haltonen and Polkamp, and I was a huge Polkamp fan at the prospect scrimmage. Like, I thought he stood out in a really big way positively. So, like, this blue line in like 2 or 3 seasons could be a lot of fucking fun. And
I hope so.
Because if you think about it, like the standouts for the Sharks blue line over the years, it's always been acquisitions. Like they didn't draft Burns. They didn't draft Boyle. Like it was Vlasic. And then what? They didn't draft Brian Campbell.
Who's their big homegrown guy? Scott Hannon.
Exactly. Right. So yeah, it was Hannon, it was Vlasic.
Vlasic.
Brad Stewart.
Brad Stewart was a good defenseman. Like,
he was
for what he was. Like, he was
until
same with Scott Hannon, right? Like,
who was the cat that ended up being a Shark for a little while? I think he does broadcast for Columbus or whatever. He was Shelley. Yeah, it was Jody Shelley fucking drilled Stewart, and Stewart was like never the same player. I know he went and like got a cup with Detroit or whatever, but it was like he was never that same guy. But it was, it's just that fact that they don't have. It reminds me of the San Francisco Giants that, they had the homegrown bullpen, they had the homegrown infield, but they went and bought their outfield. And it's kind of like that's how I feel like the Sharks are right now, where it's like they're going to homegrown the front, the all their forward group, and Askarov technically like not homegrown, but still gotten at a very youthful age.
Yeah, and look at, I mean, and you brought up Vlasic, and I think we do need to say that, like, there was a time where Vlasic was one of the best shutdown D-men in the league.
Oh, and
Age
the
has not
Sharks
been
were
kind to him.
getting him for a song at that point.
Yeah, age wasn't age hasn't been kind to him. Father Time is rarely kind to any of us.
Kicked his ass.
But I do, yeah. I mean, Vlasic. You mentioned Vlasic, and then we kind of just kind of passed over. And I think we should, mention that yes, there was a time where Marco Vlasic was one of the preeminent shutdown defensemen in this league.
Oh, dude, I will never forget. There was a playoff series. It was Vlasic. Fuck, I wish I could remember who it was. Because there were two different playoff series. I remember there's a lot of people kind of shitting on Vlasic, and he came into a series and just like completely dominated the opposing team's like big scoring threat. Similar to I want to say it was 2004, where Scott Hannon completely shut down Peter Forsberg for the Avalanche. Just complete, like, it was the pinnacle of Hannon's career. Like, that was the fucking apex. And, like, just Forsberg couldn't do shit. Hannon was all over him. So, yeah, I like seeing shit like that. So, hopefully we're going to see some shit. I see Jules bringing up Cam Lund. There's another name.
Yep.
So, yeah, point being is that if they can continue on the trajectory that they're on right now, because it's funny, I think Money Puck or whatever, just this past week, even like yesterday or whatever, like the Sharks aren't even on the playoff wheel.
Yeah.
You have zero hope. Let's look at that wheel on January 1st. Like, they could have a decent run on this road trip and shock some people. I mean, they're continuing to get better. Will Smith, those first 8-10 games, I was like, oh my God, send this fucker to the CUDA. And the last 8-10 games, it's just like, ooh, look at this motherfucker right here. And then Celebrini was injured for that streak. And since he's come back, I would say him and Granlund, arguably the two best Sharks. So,
yeah.
And then you've got Eklund. It's like, if these guys can just stay healthy for a stretch, and if Warsaw, deploys that in the right way, let's keep Clean Shady in the lineup, please. I'm a big fan of him.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what they do. Let's see how they come back from this road trip. Because, they always, what is it? It's the cliche. If you're, if you're like in the basement at Thanksgiving, you've got, no fucking hope of making the playoffs. But, like if you're in the discussion at Thanksgiving, you can, and for all those fans of the 2019 St. Louis Blues, kiss my ass. We don't have Jordan Bennington. We are not the anomaly. If we are, I've got $100 in my back pocket. I will pay if the Sharks win the cup this year.
Yeah, I mean, this team. You think this blue line's going to win a Stanley Cup?
That's exactly my point. It's like,
you think this blue line is going to win a Stanley Cup?
Wallman can't play 60 minutes, people.
I think again, we ate good this week, and you should enjoy those things. But I don't.
Exactly.
I think this is going to be a 2-point week for the Sharks. So
yeah, no, I was insanely impressed, and very positively so. It was fun. So remember to like and subscribe. Help keep us commercial free using the super chat option during these live shows. Better yet, find us on Venmo at Tealtown USA, so that way Google doesn't take 30%. You can find links to our social media, podcast apps, and more included in the show notes. Find everything on tealtownusa.com. Follow us on Blue Sky. For those of you who joined us live tonight, we thank you so much. We hope you had a fantastic Thanksgiving. We might jump onto the cord for a hot minute once this
Go
is.
to bed.
Well, I'm sure Eric and Jules, perhaps myself, we might jump onto the cord for a hot minute. But we thank you so much for finishing your holiday Thanksgiving with us. And we're going to when is the next game? Is it Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday at Ovi facing Ovechkin.
No Ovechkin. Ovechkin's hurt.
Oh, boo, bummer. Anybody else worth watching? Can is that big piece of shit Wilson still there?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so hopefully we'll somebody, one of the Sharks will, maybe Cleem will break Wilson's legs. We'll see. Oh, we didn't even mention Moka Madolan when we were talking about the defense earlier. Anyway, so thanks for joining us. Come back after dark following Sharks and Washington. All the other games, we'll catch you next Sunday night. Same bat time, same bat channel, 7 o'clock next Sunday. Good night, everybody. Have a pleasant tomorrow.